I've never taken you to the forest with me, have I? Come, today we go into the forest. Let's spend a few minutes in the forest. Let's just talk about nothing as we share the love that hopefully we have for each other and together for the world. And out of this love, let's learn how to become one with Christ. You must know that feeling when peace and joy just hit you like a brick. And there's nothing to explain it, nothing to justify it. And I don't know, sometimes my heart just wants to dig a grave and just go deep, deep down in the hope that this is going to be the end of it. And whatever I'm experiencing in that moment will last forever and ever and ever. Other times I want to get everyone I love, everyone I care for, everyone I've ever prayed for, everyone who needs love and who needs support, even if I don't know them and I've never met them, I want to take them and put them in the pocket of my heart and just drag them with me in that place of peacefulness and quiet and of joy. Sometimes you must have had the experience. Sometimes there's not a particular thing you want to share with the people whom you love. It's not a topic. It's not about words. It's just a feeling. The feeling of being so blessed and just so happy with where God has allowed you to be and where your life is in that particular moment. And there's a sense of peacefulness and a sense of joy that actually gets collapsed somehow into silence. I'm not talking about the joy one feels when one sees a friend and you just want to hug him and tell him everything that has happened and all of that. It's a different kind of joy that goes well with silence. And very often I feel I just want to take the camera and bring you with me here in these islands, in these forests, on the coasts, in the plains. Yesterday we saw deer and stags, and there's nothing I really want to tell you. I just want to bring you with me, and I just want to share with you that feeling of joy and peacefulness and the silence. Does that make any sense? I hope it does, at least to some of you. I hope it makes some sense. Oh, I remember reading in the Desert Fathers, very frequently there are these examples of monastics going to visit with one of the fathers there, and at times they got there and they spent time with that holy man, and some of them had questions about their prayer life, others had questions about how to fight temptations and so on and so forth. And now and again there would be one brother who asked nothing, just nothing. And he would go every time with his monastic brethren, and the others would continue to ask questions and the elder would answer them. And that particular brother just kept his silence and asked nothing, until eventually the holy man asked him, "Why are you asking nothing? Why are you coming? Is there nothing that you would like to learn?" And the novice answered, "Abba, just by being here in your presence is enough for me." And that's what I feel sometimes. I feel that just by being here in the presence of the saints who have lived here and struggled here and found their salvation here, in these islands, in these forests, fighting the winds that we are fighting, seeing the coasts and the waves that we are seeing, that is enough for me as well. There is no need for words. There is no need for logical explanations and arguments. There is no need for teaching per se, because the experience of grace is enough. And I have experienced that in my life. I was blessed enough to experience that several times. It's almost as if you are entering a swimming pool. Grace feels so thick and palpable. It's like you absorb it through your skin, the way you would absorb a healing ointment. And it's not something very theoretical for me, because I also remember my own elder in Moldavia, in my first monastery in Moldavia. When I entered the monastery, the abbot, as is normal, has entrusted me to one of our elders. His name was Elder Galaction. And officially, the way that's framed is that you, the novice, are supposed to take care of the old man. That's exactly what he called them, the old man. And you're supposed to help them with, whatever physical needs they have, and you're supposed to clean their cell from time to time and help them with, cleaning their clothes and practical things that someone in the 80s or 90s can no longer do that easily. And my particular elder couldn't hear. He was deaf. I've suspected for a long time that he wasn't quite deaf, that he was more or less making it up, because at times I could hear him speak, have a conversation with kittens. He particularly liked cats and kittens. And at night, 2 or 3 in the morning, when I would be out, just because I'm a night owl and I naturally am awake at those hours, I could hear him from his own cell conversing with his cat, and he responded to the cat. Some years later, it was confirmed to me from absolute certain sources that he was indeed pretending to be deaf, that it was something that he had taken upon himself as a spiritual struggle to learn humility and to not judge. He wanted to be blind to the ill treatment of others. He wanted to be deaf to the ill treatment and at times the bad words of others. What I want to say is that in his presence, I felt the same need to be quiet and learn from his silence. There was something so loving and filled with grace in just entering his cell in order to clean it. The most basic things, just clean his cell. And I would go in, and he was kneeling down, saying the psalms. Usually he would read the psalms, and he pretended that he didn't hear me go in. So I continued to clean, I continued to move things around, while he continued to be on his knees by his bedside, reading from the psalms. And it felt so good, and it felt so right, it felt so rich. It was such a rich and enriching experience. And I felt that I was somehow absorbing some lesson that I could never learn from reading books or having smart, intelligent conversations with other monastics from the monastery, or simply from the university where, I went to study. There's a way in which, in the presence of grace, grace enters you. It's like we can absorb it through our skin or through our minds and through our eyes and everything that we are. And these lessons are more valuable, and I've learned more from these silent lessons than from anything I've ever learned from a book or from a university lecture, let's put it that way. Don't run away from silence, and don't run away from the presence of grace. And the presence of grace you will encounter in your life in so many ways, and your heart will know it. You will know you are in the presence of grace in front of some icons, for example. You'll know you are in the presence of grace when you pray in certain moments here and there. You'll know you are in the presence of grace when you go on a pilgrimage and you walk in the same places where the Savior walked, for example, or where his Holy Mother lived and where her body was buried. You know that you are in the presence of grace when you go on pilgrimage to where the relics of the saints are. You will know you are in the presence of grace when you meet somebody or you go to a certain place and all of a sudden, I know I've used this expression before, I wish I could explain it better, but I don't quite know how. There's this feeling that your brain is paralyzed because there is something so intense, so out of this world, out of the reach of our usual logical thinking, logical understanding, that our brains cannot process that. And they are just like hit and paralyzed. When that happens to you, when you feel you've reached a place where you are walking in grace the way you would be swimming in the water, when you feel you are in the presence of a person or of an icon or of a holy relic, and in that presence grace is manifested, do not run away. Do not rob yourselves of that experience, because these experiences are not granted to us very frequently, particularly the very intense ones, the ones that are able to completely transform our lives. Stop and do as the Lord himself teaches us. Be still and know that I am God. I've simply wanted to tell you that although I had nothing to tell you, I love you so much that I would like to take you with me when I experience these moments of grace. And although my experiences are so limited and so low, I'm convinced that they are nothing compared to what any one of you experiences. But I also know that that is irrelevant, because God can save me with just 1% of what you might be experiencing. But I have this need to take anything that he gives me and just share it with you. This is not ideal, obviously. Recording a video and or writing an email or recording a podcast, these are not ideal, because grace is life, and life is communicated face to face, in person. And this is neither face to face really, it's screen to screen, and it's definitely not in person. But although it's not ideal, it is so much better than nothing. If we all did the little, the nothing that is in our power to help each other, to lift each other up, to give each other hope, to love each other and to share with each other the grace that God is giving each and every one of us, then our life would be so much easier, and this earth would be a perfect image of the kingdom, as it should be. I pray to God that, if nothing else, at least you will have felt my love for you, and that I always pray for you, and that I am so grateful for your presence in my life and in the life of this monastery. Without you, my dear ones, this monastery would not exist. Without you, I could not walk on this path, which I know is my path and my obedience from Christ. Without you, this offering, this sacrifice of ours to the Celtic saints, to the saints who lived in these islands centuries and centuries ago, actually about 15 centuries ago, none of this would be possible. You are making this possible, and for that, I have no words to describe how grateful I am and how much I love you. Be careful, dear ones. Be careful, stay safe, stay healthy, try to walk away from anger, try to walk away from hatred, and may God bless you beyond your wildest, most beautiful dreams, dear ones. Keep me and the monastery in your prayers, and let's find our salvation together. Amen. Amen. Amen, dear ones.